Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Tech Talks. This is Ryan here, and this week, as anticipated, we're going over using Guitar Pro and AmpliTube together to get the most out of practicing and using these guys seamlessly all on the same system. Now, you guys on Mac might be wondering why we're doing a tutorial for this, because it's nice and easy. You could just open both programs. Core Audio works differently than on Windows and ACO drivers. So we're going to be taking a look at, you could see on screen, Voicemeeter Banana, which is going to route our stuff internally on Windows and kind of just make the whole process nice and simple. We're going to be using our AXIO here as our audio input, as usual. And yeah, let's dive right in, and we'll check out all of these different things that you can do. Of course, this also applies for other things like recording videos. You can route anything kind of internally, and you'll notice that's kind of what I do when I use, you'll see OBS down here. Most of the time I'm routing audio internally, and these are very useful tools. So it works outside of just this lesson. But let's take a look at AmpliTube here, and we'll look at the basic setup first. So here we're just going to use our normal ACO settings. Notice our AXIO selected, 256 buffer. That's all I need. Some of you guys might want to drop this down to 128, and if your system can handle it, 64. If you hear clicks and pops, always raise that up. That's usually the problem. Usually just means that there's not enough processing power to do what you're asking the computer to do. So the next thing we want to take a look at is going to be our amp here. So we want to pick a nice amp for whatever we're going to play. We have a bunch of different choices. So I just pulled up a Marshall, nice generic tone. You notice it says default because I've changed only the amp, and I've added a noise gate here. I'll show you here. It's just a 57, slightly on the side, and just a little bit of room. So let's hear what that sounds like. So, as you could tell, what we're going to be going over today is actually one of the tunes that I've picked is Highway to Hell from AC/DC. Now, we're just going to be using the basic Marshall for this, but you can use this tone for a lot of different things, and you can really pick your tones here with the amp selection and drag around all the different knobs like you would on the real amp. You do have presets up here, but if you don't own different collections, you might want to just go through amps as a guitar player. I normally just pick gear. I don't go to presets unless I'm using certain songs and trying to get a session sounding the exact same as the previous one or something like that. Notice just a gate here, but you could pick all of your different effects. And there is a built-in gate right there. This is AmpliTube 4, which if you guys are not aware, we do have AmpliTube 5, which is really awesome. It's coming out soon, so stay tuned for that. And also, make sure you guys have an IK account, because when we give away AmpliTube 4 at the very end of this episode, that's how you're going to enter to win. We just need an answer to an opinion-based question, and we need your IK account. So that's going to be your entry. Also, make sure you guys use the link sent by the moderator and in the description. It's going to enter you to win Guitar Pro and iRig HD2. There's 4 cablies to win, and there's going to be Play Guitar Hits, which is the app that we went over last time. And the winners are going to be picked shortly after this episode. So make sure you guys stay tuned. Keep an eye out on your email, because if you do win, that's how we're going to let you know. And we're going to announce that we've picked the winners on social media. So make sure you guys get in that. This is going to be one of the last days to jump in. So if you haven't signed up, make sure you do so. It's an ultimate practice rig. You know, say you need a holiday gift for somebody else, or you're looking for the most nice, or I guess the best price for an entry into the mobile production, and yeah, and an awesome practice tool. The HD2, you can use Mac, PC, iOS. So there's a lot of different stuff that you can do. You can do everything in these tutorials that we've been showing off if you do win. So let's check this out. We have all of our stuff here. He's record armed. So now our tone is set. The next thing we want to do is launch that app via Voicemeeter, which download again in the description. And notice there's no input device, no input device here. Sorry. The output device, we're going to pick A1 is going to be our AXIO ACO. Now that's all you need to really pick. Notice our 2 virtual inputs here are going to be the Voicemeeter VAIO, which is going to be the virtual ACO, and then you have the Voicemeeter aux. So notice we're going to go here in the corner and just pick our aux input, which is the same thing from that Voicemeeter mixer. So once you've done that, your audio is going to go in here and play out through whichever channels you've routed. I've routed A1 and 2, which is going to be our AXIO ACO. You can also route this to, say, another device if you wanted to stream somewhere, and then kind of get creative with your monitoring, and it's very useful for Windows. So let's go ahead and we'll minus that down. This is all you've had to do is launch this program and select AXIO ACO here as your output A1. right? Now, if you've unchecked any boxes, make sure you do have A1 and A2 under these two guys. I have none of this stuff routed. You can even turn that off. I don't want any of that stuff going anywhere, right? Now, all we've done is launch Guitar Pro, which you'll notice I did load a song, but you do have a browse option, which has My Songbook. And if you're not familiar, this thing is awesome. You can search through a bunch of different tabs created by professionals, so you know they're right, and you can kind of choose what you want to hear from classics to new hits. And I've picked AC/DC Highway to Hell here, but you can see there's even a perfect circle. Like, come on, that's awesome. And most of these are full scores. Some of them are vocals, vocal guitars, guitar duets, stuff like that. Picking guitar solo. That's pretty interesting. So let's check out what it looks like when you do load these. So I have AC/DC Highway to Hell here. You have standard tuning. You have the BPM here, which let's just press play and hear exactly what it sounds like. Because if you notice, we have guitar, drums, bass, everything ready to go. Very interesting. You can see everything moving on screen as you're going along with it. And you'll have these different parts in the bottom. You go to intro, verse, solo, chorus, stuff like that. And you click these little boxes to go between them. Let's go back to our intro. One thing I've really found out, which is useful, is that you can select a piece and you can loop it and change between the different percents of how the speed, essentially. So 50% speed, let's hear it. Now, you're probably not going to need that for this section. Let's go over that in just another moment when we go over the solo, when we'll go over some other tools. So let's turn that off. We've turned loop off. You do have a metronome, or sorry, this is going to be your tuning alternative here. So say you're practicing to Kiss, which plays a lot in flats, but you don't want to tune your guitar down. Just press this up one semitone and you're good to go. It's super easy to do. You're going to see everything kind of, or you're going to hear everything play back properly, which really does help. If you're trying to play to something and you're not tuned to the right tuning, it does get very frustrating. You're hearing everything very dissonant and you think you're playing it right, but you're not quite sure. Outside of that, you do have some controls over here like tempo, but this is mainly Guitar Pro stuff. Let's focus on what we're going to do for practicing. We already have a rhythm guitar here. So let's say once our drums come in here, I want to turn this guy off and just practice like that. Let's hear what it sounds like. Right? So very interesting how you can kind of practice that way. Or let's say you wanted to just loop the verse over and over and just practice a blues solo over it. You can, which is really cool. And you have the chorus here where you can kind of tell exactly where it's going, and you have the chords, everything. Now, let's say you're not the biggest guy on guitar tablature because you haven't been playing too long. There are some views here which make things very easy. Now you can access them here or in this corner, which is really awesome. This is going to show you exactly what the guitar player is doing. So you can see exactly the chords being played, right? Which is really cool because if you're not familiar with stuff and you're trying to look back and forth with the guitar, this gives you a visual representation. And let's say you're even learning piano, but you're a guitar player, or vice versa. You can kind of, learn the two at once. So very interesting tool there. Great for when you're using, IK products when you have, a keyboard at your disposal, a guitar at your disposal, loops, and you're in the DAW and stuff like that. It becomes very helpful to learn and, kind of teach yourself things that you might not have been able to do before. Speaking of teaching yourself things, let's take a look at the electric guitar lead. Which, by the way, guys, all I did, again, to get this out to the voice meter is going to select voice meter aux input as our output for Windows Audio. That's it. Once that's done, launch Guitar Pro, because you don't want to change that when a program's open most of the time. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You pick this guy, and now he sends to voice meter, and that sends to our AXIO. And then you use AmpliTube just like you've used it any other day. Mac users, you don't even have to worry about what I just said. But let's check out what this guitar solo sounds like. So you can see everything is there. That nice little quarter or half bend there. Really sick. Angus Young style. Well, obviously Angus Young style. But let's play it back and go 50% just so you could hear if you weren't really practicing what you would do. So you can see 50%. I normally go to like 80% if I'm not sure about something. And then sometimes I'll go all the way down to 50 and just learn a phrase, you know. Let's say you just want to figure out this little guy, because sometimes he's confusing. Sorry, I know it's a little repetitive, but that's what you want to do when you're practicing, is kind of get the same thing over and over and then work on speed and increasing that speed and increasing that accuracy. And that's exactly what these tools let you do. So that's what this nice little tool option up here is. And then you have your other guys, your guitar, your piano. We even have a nice little tuner here. We do have a tuner in AmpliTube, so that's normally what I'll be using. We have Ultra Tuner as well if you've purchased AmpliTube 4. But don't worry, we're going to be giving away AmpliTube 4 in just a moment here. Let's pick a question and let you guys answer it in about 3 minutes here, and then we'll pick our winner at the very end of the episode. So we do have Ultra Tuner here, which is very, very useful. You could turn it on, and you have 3 different views. I always like to mute my guitar when I'm tuning. And you can see, you know, it just kind of helps you just get perfectly on point. You could change the temperament. You know, if you're getting really into stuff, if you're a classical player and stuff like that, you're going to want to use these kind of tools, and you're going to want to use the tools that are inside of Guitar Pro. Speaking of one, I cannot let you guys off without knowing is going to be the fine scale from the section. But speaking of, let's go ahead and pick the question for you guys. And my moderator will pick the winner at the very end. So again, AmpliTube 4 is what you guys are going to win today. You need your IK Multimedia account, so you're going to put your answer and then your IK username, and that's how you're going to win. You don't need to do anything from there. We're going to add it right to your account. It might take a couple days depending on the team and, you know, how busy they are. But let's go ahead and throw that question in now. You know, what is your favorite guitar? Let's say, what is your favorite guitar player? Let's go with that instead of guitar solo. Who is your favorite guitar player? What are their, you know, the qualities that you like about them? I love Angus Young. I was going to do some Jimmy Page stuff, but a lot of his solos and his tones were done with guitars directly into the board. And I didn't want to mimic that today. I wanted to use AmpliTube and show you guys that. But yeah, Jimmy Page is another great one. I mean, Les Paul, he's super inspiring. So let those answers pour in the box, and you're going to enter to win AmpliTube 4. But while we let those pour in, let's go over a couple of different things just before we wrap up. And again, guys, we're using AmpliTube 4 paid, but you can get a free version, and you can also enter to win an entire suite of practice stuff. You know, an iRig HD2, a Cably, which is a super cool cable management system, Guitar Pro, and Play Guitar Hits, which is a sick app which goes over video demonstrations of all these different things. Check out the video if you didn't see what that's about. I wasn't too familiar with it until I really dug into it, and then I realized, you know, some people really don't like tabs. Some people really like videos, and I know a couple of people who are like that. I'll send them a tab to a song that I've just learned, and they're like, oh, it's cool, but can you send me a video, something I can learn like that? It really does help. So back to Guitar Pro. Okay, so what you're going to do here is you're going to select your section, and then you're going to go up here to the tools, scales. Once you have the scales, you can really just teach yourself the major, the minor, and all that different stuff if you really want to. You're going to see our guitar fretboard, which is resizable, by the way. It's going to be nice and useful here to learn your different scales. But let's go ahead and go to Find Scale from Selection. You see, there's a bunch of different scales that can be used here. Music is very broad. and it's going to match everything as close as it can. You got major bebop, blues, minor, hexatonic. So there's a couple of different things going on there. I would probably stick to, if you're going with Angus Young, starting with the major and minor pentatonic and learning to switch between them in a blues fashion. Jesse Ricca does lessons on Thursdays for us, and he explained a whole lesson on blues guitar, and it's insane, you know, the different details that you could do. I know this is rock and roll, but rock and roll really came from blues, you know. So that's kind of a very, very interesting tool that you have there. You know, you can go between the preferred notation, sharps or flats. If you're not familiar with that, don't worry about it. Really, it just means if it's going to show a sharp or a flat for the note, because as you can see, between your D and your E, you have E flat. You can call this E flat, or you can call this D sharp, essentially. Just think of it like the keys on a keyboard. You can change between different tags here, and you can search different scales. Now, if you're just getting started, again, definitely jump to the blues pentatonic. Learn that guy. He's going to be a lifesaver. The pentatonic is known for sounding good over most things because it's only 5 notes, and those 5 notes usually hit certain tones in the scale. And just trust me and check it out, and check out the cage system from Jesse if you're just getting into things too. The cage system just turns the guitar into a whole different level of there's a whole different level of simplicity in the guitar once you understand the cage system. It explains how you can move your scales and your chords all over the neck. So now let's go ahead. We're going to pick our winner in just a moment. Remember, AmpliTube 4 is what you're going to win. And if you haven't already, sign up for the giveaway in the link sent by the mod. It is going to be an excellent practice setup. And all right, guys. Well, that's it. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week. Happy Thanksgiving for all of you guys who celebrate, and congratulations in advance to the winner. We'll be picking you in just a moment. Thanks again. See you all next week.